For anyone who grew up in the 80s and 90s, Lion-O was the definition of a hero. Every afternoon he showed up, sword in the air, the team at his side. Third Earth saved. But in 2003, DC Comics published a direct sequel to the classic cartoon, 5 issues, and in that version, there is no victory. Thundera fell. One ThunderCat is dead, and the ones who survived now live on their knees beside Mumm-Ra. We open in a ruined fortress. Cobwebs, dust. A small figure sits alone in front of a glowing book. It's Snarf, and he's been waiting 5 years for this moment. 5 years ago, Lion-O entered the Book of Omens to complete his royal training. From his perspective, he was gone for a single day. But Mumm-Ra cast a spell that canceled the book's own magic. Time moved normally outside. And while Lion-O trained, the world ended. When Snarf finally finds the key and pulls Lion-O out, the first thing he tells him is, "You need to see this." Where the cat's lair once stood, a giant statue of Mumm-Ra now towers over the city. The original cat statue lies broken at his feet. Skulls pile up in the streets. A black pyramid dominates the skyline. Thundera, conquered. Snarf explains everything. After Lion-O disappeared, Panthro became regent. Refugees returned. Hundreds of thousands of Thunderians came home. They rebuilt the city, mined Thundrillium, raised statues and schools. Snarf calls it a Thunderian Renaissance. But Mumm-Ra was waiting. For nearly a year, he didn't show himself. He let the city grow. He let them forget him. And when he finally struck, they had no military, no defenses, nothing. Bengali was murdered. His skeleton was chained to the wall of the cat's lair as a public warning. Cheetara was captured and taken to a tower in Mumm-Ra's castle. Panthro was thrown into the slave mines. Tigra vanished. Willikit and Willikat, those 2 kids you remember from the cartoon, became personal slaves of Mumm-Ra himself. All of that happened in one night. Lion-O doesn't roar, doesn't draw the sword. He just stands there and says, "This is all my fault. I should have been here." Because the king was training while his people were dying. But what Lion-O doesn't know yet is that even the ancient spirits of evil now serve Mumm-Ra, not the other way around. Mumm-Ra conquered his own masters. He is no longer a wizard. He is a god. And he has been watching Lion-O through his cauldron since the moment he came back. He is letting him reunite the team. On purpose, Lion-O and Snarf go to the slave mines to find Panthro. The mines are guarded by Jackalman. And what Lion-O does to that guard is not what an 80s hero does. He whips him, drags him by the throat, uses the mutant's own whip against him until he breaks and gives up Panthro's location. Then Lion-O says, "Good boy." The good guys don't smile anymore. They torture. Because they have to. He finds Panthro at the bottom of the 3rd shaft, chained, beaten. Panthro looks at Lion-O and says, "I knew you'd be back." And Lion-O can't even look at him. They go after Cheetara next. She is being held in Mumm-Ra's own castle, tortured by the mutants daily. When Lion-O, Panthro, and Snarf storm in, the fight is brutal. Bones break, skulls crack. They free her. And the first thing Cheetara does when Lion-O and looks at her with relief is slap him across the face. Lion-O is no longer the prince they remembered. He's the king who abandoned them. And the people he comes back to are not going to forgive him easily. Meanwhile, Mumm-Ra calls for Willikat. The boy is broken. He has watched his sister, Willikit, be beaten and used for months. And Mumm-Ra makes him a simple offer. "Lead the ThunderCats into my pyramid. Make them think they are surprising me. And you and your sister go free." Willikat agrees. Without hesitation, he scratches his own face open with his claws, smashes himself against rocks until he bleeds. So when he finds the resistance, bloody and exhausted, everyone believes he escaped from torture. Cheetara hugs him. Panthro feeds him. Lion-O trusts him completely, and the boy leads them straight into the trap. When the ambush is sprung, Mumm-Ra turns to Willikit and tells her the truth. He was never going to keep his word. He blasts Willikat, with raw lightning in front of her. And the boy dies slowly while his sister screams his name. Mumm-Ra then says, "I didn't turn your brother evil. I just nurtured what was already there. The pickpocket twin with the boomerang. The kid you laughed at in the cartoon, murdered by Mumm-Ra after being manipulated into betraying his own people." This is not a children's comic. This is a tragedy drawn in 4 colors. Mumm-Ra calls on the ancient spirits of evil one final time. The throne room fills with dark energy, and then he sits, waiting. Massive, patient. He already knows Lion-O is coming. The battle explodes through the pyramid. Panthro hammers Monkeyan into the floor. Cheetara tears through the corridors. The team is whole, and they fight like they have nothing left to lose. Lion-O reaches the throne room alone. Mumm-Ra is already waiting. He doesn't attack. He talks, mocking Thundera, thanking Lion-O for disappearing, promising the whole universe the same makeover. Then he drops the speech and demands the Sword of Omens. Lion-O says, "Shut up," and does something no version of this character had ever done before. He drives the sword into the stone floor and breaks it. "You still covet this sword? It's like a crutch for your evil. I don't need its power to vanquish you." Then he charges with his bare hands. What follows is not a duel. It is a beating. Lion-O roaring with every blow, not stopping, not posing. Mumm-Ra fights back, throws him into walls, towers over him. But Lion-O gets back up every time. Mumm-Ra says, "Goodbye, Lion-O," and Panthro crashes through the wall behind him. One final punch. The ever-living staggers, dissolves. Smoke and silence where a god used to stand. The ThunderCats stand in the wreckage. Tigra says no, they can't eradicate an evil that powerful overnight, but they can chip away at it, wear it down. Cheetara turns to Lion-O. "This isn't your battle. It's ours. None of us can do this alone. We need you, but you need us too." Lion-O kneels, holding the sword. "I know, this will always be my fault and my responsibility." Snarf cuts him off. Blame doesn't matter anymore. All that matters is our task ahead. They walk out together into the light. 5 silhouettes through an open door. We've got a planet to liberate. And then, in the shadows of the cauldron, a red cloak. Mumm-Ra whispers, "Oh, it's so good to have you back, Lion-O." Pathetic speeches aside, you were right about 2 things. The rules have changed. More than you can possibly imagine. He needs a true general now. A wizard, trained by him, cast in his own image. Someone the ThunderCats believe is dead. The cauldron glows, and in its light, a young feline figure with white hair floats in the mist. Mumm-Ra laughs, "I might have lost your sister, boy, but I still have hope for you." End of issue 5. Thundera fell because Lion-O wasn't there. Wheelicat died because a child trusted a monster. And Mumm-Ra never really lost. He's still out there, waiting. If this video made you see a team you thought you already knew in a whole new light, share it with someone who grew up watching ThunderCats. And if you want to know the dark origin of another iconic villain from your childhood, one the cartoon kept buried for decades, subscribe to the channel, because the next video is about a character who terrorized a city for years, but came from a past far more brutal than anything you saw on screen. See you then.